Number 10. The Withdrawal. In January 2012, a 19-year-old walked into a bank inside a Walmart in Texas. He told the teller he wanted to make a withdrawal. She asked for his account number. He didn't have it, so he gave her his name instead, and his social security number. She started looking him up. And then he changed his mind about the withdrawal. He told her to empty the drawer instead. She did, and he left with the money. By then, the bank had his full legal name, his date of birth, and his social security number. They also had his face on camera. Police found him walking through nearby apartments holding the cash. He ran. They cornered him. He dropped the money. The whole thing, from robbery to arrest, took 7 minutes. He was sentenced to 37 months in federal prison. Number 9. The Regular. This one robbed 4 banks around Brockton, Massachusetts in a single weekend. She was 31. She needed $2,000 for rent. Witnesses said she was crying during the robberies, and she made one particular mistake. She robbed banks where she was already a customer. At one of them, she walked up to the counter and passed a note. The teller looked at the note, then looked at her. Then said, "Do you want to make a deposit, Carrie?" She knew her name. She had served her before. Police arrested her that weekend and seized her car, her phone, cash, and clothing. Some of it was covered in red dye from an exploding dye pack, so they had her on camera, in her own car, with marked money, in marked clothes. And a teller who could identify her by first name. Number 8. The Creature of Habit. A man in Oakland found a bank he liked. He robbed it on the 9th of March, then again. Then again, then again. 4 robberies at the same branch in about 10 weeks. Same building, same counter. Sometimes the same staff. On his 5th visit, a teller recognized him as he walked through the door. She didn't panic. She quietly went and found a colleague. Specifically, a colleague he had robbed on one of the previous occasions. The two of them walked over and confronted him. He panicked and ran. A police sergeant arrested him a short distance away. The evidence was still in his pocket. The demand note, folded, ready to go. The officer's assessment was simple. He was a creature of habit. Police also suspected him of at least 7 robberies in San Francisco, including one branch he had allegedly hit 5 separate times. Number 7. The Introduction. In 2010, a 54-year-old man walked into a bank in Boston. He had written his demand note in advance. Here is what it said, in full. "I am Brian. Need $4,000. I got a gun and a bomb." He had opened his robbery by introducing himself. The teller took the note and did not read it. She simply saw a note being passed. So she hit the panic button, walked away, and told her manager. Then she came back to the window and actually read what it said. While she was reading it, police officers arrived. He was still standing at the counter, waiting. He was charged with attempted bank robbery. There are a lot of ways to fail at this. Signing the note and then waiting patiently to be arrested is a fairly complete one. Number 6. The Discharge Papers. In December 2016, a 25-year-old signed himself out of a rehabilitation center in Pennsylvania. He kept his discharge paperwork. Then he called a taxi and asked to be taken to a nearby bank. He wrote his demand note on the discharge papers. Those papers had his name printed on them. He handed them over. He left with just over $5,000. Then he got back into the same taxi that had brought him there. And here is where it gets remarkable. He got out of the taxi without his gym bag. Inside that bag was $2,700 of the stolen money. Also left in the car was his wallet and his driver's license. And 2 sweatshirts the teller confirmed the robber had worn. He was arrested the next day. He had handed police a complete case file and paid the fare to deliver it. Number 5. The Redaction. This one at least understood the problem. A 27-year-old in Colorado wrote his demand note on one of his own personal checks. Personal checks have your name printed on them. He knew that, so he blacked his name out first. Then he handed it over and left with nearly $5,000. The FBI agent on the case was asked about the redaction afterwards. His answer was, "We could still make it out even though he blacked it out." Surveillance footage matched a man of his description, and separately, a tipster came forward. A man had been claiming he got $5,000 in a bank robbery. He turned himself in a few days later. Of everyone on this list, he came closest to thinking it through. He identified the flaw. He addressed the flaw. The flaw remained. Number 4. The Birth Certificate. In July 2021, a man walked into a bank in Springfield, Missouri. He was 29, wearing a cut-off gray t-shirt, gym shorts, and one orange shoe. Just the one. He handed the teller a note. She emptied the drawer and gave him the money. He had written that note in pink highlighter, on the back of his own birth certificate. He fled in a pickup truck. Then he saw police cars heading toward the bank with lights and sirens. So he panicked. He threw the birth certificate out of the window. And his ID. And then he started throwing the money out of the window as well. He was arrested later the same day. He told investigators why he did it. He was proving a point to his girlfriend after an argument. He also said he hadn't chosen a bank in advance. He drove past one and picked it. The total taken was $754. Number 3. The handwriting. On the 18th of March 2021, a 67-year-old retired man walked into a building society. This was in Eastbourne, England. He passed the cashier a handwritten note. She looked at it and could not read a word of it. His handwriting was that bad. So he left, empty-handed, having robbed nobody. Then the staff sat down and worked out what it said. Your screen won't stop what I've got. Just hand over the 10s and the 20s. Think about the other customers. They called the police, who took the note as evidence. 8 days later, he tried again at a different branch with a fresh note. This one worked. The cashier handed over £2,400. He walked out without saying a word, and then he caught the bus home. Cameras filmed him boarding it moments after the robbery. Police asked the bus company who had used a pass at that stop. They identified him from the photograph on his own bus pass. He tried a third bank 6 days later. That cashier simply challenged him, and he left. He got 4 years in prison and 2 more on license. Number 2. The generosity. In October 2021, a 43-year-old woman entered a bank in Denver. She asked a teller a question about deposits, and the teller handed her a deposit slip. She left. She came back half an hour later wearing a baseball cap and sunglasses, and she passed that same teller a note. It was written on the deposit slip the teller had given her. Put all large bills and no tracers in the bag. You have 20 seconds. She got the money and left. But she also left the note behind. Investigators compared the handwriting to a letter she had written to a judge. That was from an earlier case. The loop on her G, and the fact she capitalized every A, it appeared to match. But that is not how they found her. They found her because of a tipster. He told an undercover officer that a woman was handing out money at a motel and telling everyone there that she had just robbed a bank. She got 63 months. Number 1. The Juice. On the 6th of January 1995, 2 men robbed 2 banks in Pittsburgh in a single afternoon. At the first, one of them held a handgun to a teller. The other waited in the queue. They left with $5,200. Neither of them wore a mask. Neither made any attempt to hide his face at all, because both of them believed they were invisible. One had told the other that lemon juice makes you invisible to security cameras. His reasoning was that lemon juice is used as invisible ink. The other man was skeptical, so he tested it. He covered his face in lemon juice, then took a Polaroid photograph of himself. The photograph came out blank. He had almost certainly just mishandled the camera. He took it as proof. His only complaint afterwards was about his eyes. The juice stung so badly he could barely see. The footage went out on the local news. A tip came in within minutes. When police showed him the surveillance images, he was genuinely astonished. He said, "But I wore the juice." That reaction reached a psychologist at Cornell. He found it striking. A man could be too incompetent to recognize his own incompetence. The research that followed gave us the Dunning-Kruger effect. Every person on this list was caught, most of them within a day, one of them within 7 minutes, and the one who understood the least about any of it. He is the reason we have a name for that now. That's all for today. I'll be making more of these. Subscribe if you want them.